Hi, my name is David P. Shapiro. I'm the owner and managing partner of the law office of David P. Shapiro, located in San Diego, California, where my firm helps good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. And this video on April 7th, 2021, I want to talk about the progression in week 2 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial for the death of George Floyd taking place currently in Minneapolis. And a couple of things to keep in mind. Primarily for this video, I want to talk to you about the significance of what we see with our eyes, what we feel with our hearts and in our bodies, and how that may not always match up with what the law necessarily says needs to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think this case is a real good indicator of that, in the sense that anyone who has seen that video was, or at least should be, mortified watching a man die the way that George Floyd died, for whatever reason, a combination of reasons. You know, you can't deny the fact that the knee on the upper back, on the neck, wherever we want to say it was, had an impact, if not a substantial effect, on this man losing his life. But just because we are mortified and thoroughly disgusted and ashamed and disgraced by that type of behavior, certainly by law enforcement, and that complete derelict of duty of taking care of someone in your care and custody and control, that does not necessarily mean that the law of second-degree murder in the state of Minnesota will be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. So, very generally, without getting too far into the weeds here, second-degree murder in Minnesota, as it relates to this case, requires that the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Derek Chauvin's actions substantially caused the death of George Floyd. Not that they played a part in it. I think anyone would lose credibility if you tried to argue that they didn't play a part in it. But the issue is, any and all reasonable interpretations of the evidence, the only one pointing to that his action, Chauvin's action, substantially caused the death of George Floyd. The prosecution may have some trouble with that. I may be proven wrong. We'll see. We'll probably do some more videos about it. But, as we stand here today, April 7th, there's a lot of extraneous factors that could have reasonably played a role in George Floyd's untimely death. So, that's an example of a situation where, emotions are high, but things may not always be what they seem when you apply the facts that go before a jury to what the law is. And that's really where the ability of your criminal defense lawyer comes into play. Whether it's a murder case, whether it's a stalking case, whether it's a domestic violence case, whether, it's a DUI, whatever the situation may be, a lot of times our best defense is, yes, this happened. Yes, this is terrible. Yes, this is not excusable. But this is not the crime that you were charged with, or not the crime that our client was charged with. And that's really important. And it's important because you're laying it out to the jury that you're not, playing the prototypical role of defense attorney, which is throw everything at the wall and see what sticks and, make these sleazy, slimy arguments that you see on TV. That gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere in life. It gets you nowhere in business. It sure as hell gets you nowhere in front of a jury. So it is very, very, very important to have a clear, focused defense and a strategic defense in what you're doing. Know what you're doing. Be able to argue a case to a jury effectively with a clear theme. Because as we started this video talking about, cases are not as open and shut as they may seem in the public, on TV. When you apply evidence to law and you factor in proof beyond a reasonable doubt, many things can happen that the public may not be prepared for, or may not expect, or may not feel that the defendant or the criminally accused even deserves. So that's a video on that. Here we are, April 7th, 2021. A little recap of the George Floyd trial, the Derek Chauvin trial, regarding the murder of George Floyd. Keep tuned here to our YouTube channel. We'll have updates throughout. Obviously, you can follow me on social media at DP Shapiro on Twitter, where sometimes I'll even live tweet my impressions of how the case is going and what we're expecting to happen in the coming days and weeks ahead. 619-295-3555 is how you can get a hold of the firm. Again, my name is David Shapiro, San Diego criminal defense lawyer.